Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I can do tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only come for this.
On today's episode of Jessica Javens Talk, we're going to be talking with an independent producer who's been able to open a Pandora box in his life. And he's going to talk about how he was able to uncover all of this and become a person in such success that is now inspiring people through many different ways, especially through fun of producing movies. So I would love to welcome you, Jerome Brown, or JB. Thank you so much to be here as our guest today at Jessica Javens Talk. And welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Jessica. I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
I am awesome. Very excited to hear more about some of the things that I've learned about you. And I can't wait for our listeners to enjoy this too. So if you're watching this show right now, make sure you click the like button. And we're going to tell you how you can be more in contact with JB and learn more about the amazing art and the changes that he's creating right now. So let's get started a little bit about your background before we get into the sweet spot that you are right now in your life. Let's get back to your background and where do you come from before you came to unravel all of this about you, who JB is?
So I was born and raised in a little town called Barnwell. It's in South Carolina. I'm number 7 of 8 children, born to Edgar and Eunice Brown. I went into the military immediately after high school, started out in the Army, worked for the government for a period of time, and switched over to the Air Force. And now I reside with my wife in Columbia, South Carolina, and all the kids are grown and gone.
You have 4 kids, right?
Yes, 3 girls.
That's amazing. I have 4 too, 2 boys and 2 girls, and right now they're all teenagers, JB. Maybe you
Oh
can
my
give
God.
us some tips. Yeah.
Tie them
Now,
up, gag them, and leave them in the closet until they're gone. Let them go.
right? Oh my gosh, I know. So going back, you seem to have a kind of like a very American, because I wasn't born here, JB. When you tell me a little bit about that background, it looks very American background, very traditional American background, in my opinion. And now with where you are in your life, it seems like such a huge change, like from a very strict, a very diligent, disciplined maybe work that you started right out of high school, and now you're into complete art and intuition and creativity mode. Tell me how that came to be, out of the military to where you are now.
So many of the new millennials, that's how I refer to the youth of today, they're into this whole, they think everything affects them psychologically, especially when it comes to discipline. And I always say, look at me. I was disciplined, strict, whippings and the whole 9 yards, restrictions, punishment, and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, I got in trouble here and there, a time or two, but I have 4 college degrees. I have a doctorate degree. I produced 10 movies. I was a nationally registered EMT in the Air Force.
Wow.
So if being affected by discipline is the result of me, then Yeah, give me that discipline. I'll take it.
Well, that's a good message for the young ones. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. So, out of that, of course, you were still, growing up as an adult, and you've been now producing movies for 27 years, 26 years, right?
26
26?
years, August.
That's amazing.
Yes, August, May, 26 years.
I can't wait
Yes.
to hear about the one that's coming out next. But tell me, how did you get into that? How did you start? What was the spark? What was the thing that made you um tune to that part of you?
So I'm going to spawn off of a word that you just used. You said, how did you spark? I listened to, I think about something that Bubba Sparks said that I am, how did he put it? I didn't, I didn't plan to rap and planned me or something of that nature. Um, that's how I look at what I do. Um, what I do was put in me. It was a God given talent, and I use it to say thank you. It's not uh, driven by fame, driven by fortune. Don't get me wrong. Uh, I have enjoyed it. It's very enlightening when someone approaches you, or someone approaching me from nowhere in an airport, in Walmart, in a college, in Fort Jackson, on the street, in the post office, and just start, hey, aren't you? And sometimes they'll call my name, but sometimes they'll call me a character. I said, aren't you Reggie? And I'll say, no, I played the character of Reggie, but
Right.
I'm JB. It's like, oh my God. Or I'm in Walmart and this guy's like, honey, this is JB Brown. And she's like, yes, sweetheart, do you know what COVID is? Okay. Or, and I mean, that is very enlightening, but that's not what fuels me to do it.
So, what was that really within you? Because you shared something very important here, and that I value so much is that you see it as a way to say thank you and honor God for giving you that ability and creativity. And you told me earlier before we started the show that it comes very easy to you. And I was shocked to hear how long it took you to write an entire movie. So, how
Yeah.
did you find that out? Because were you writing stories when you were in the military?
I was writing stories, but they weren't movie scripts. I was
Okay.
writing short stories, I was writing poetry, I was writing songs, and it's a realization. You
Mm,
see the difference between a realization and a desire is a realization is something that comes from within you, and you just acknowledge it. And a desire is something that you may see or you may read or you hear about. And you're like, man, I want to do that. There are so many people that wants to do what I do, but don't know how. Let me tell you,
mhm.
this is not an insult by any means to anybody. But if you have to ask someone to help you do something creative, then that means that you're not. And I tell students, I taught college for a little bit. I tell anyone who comes in my presence that I can teach you platform. I can teach you the basics. I can teach you all of the templates, but I cannot teach you how to be creative. That's God's job. I can't teach you how to be talented. If you don't have it, you just got to roll with what you do have.
Very interesting. So JB, it seems like you started just to realize that as you allowed yourself to just start without even knowing how or what, you started maybe writing poems and music. And because you allowed yourself to go there, that's where you started to discover this about yourself that you did not realize before you started writing. Is that right?
Yes, but we as humans, we resist change and we fear the unknown.
Yep.
You told me that you flew up from Florida, you came from Brazil, have a Brazilian background. Steve, there are so many people who won't even leave their small country home, wherever they were born, because they don't know what's out there. It's
So
the
true.
same thing with my realization. I realized that doing what I do is easy.
Wow. What an amazing gift of you realizing that it came when you realized that about yourself, like you totally saw it crystal clear. How did it make you feel?
I'm not sure how it made me feel because I don't walk in fear. I'm not the type of person that like, oh my God, how do I feel about this? No, I'm a type of person that I think outside the box and I dig for it. And so when it was thrusted upon me, and I'll tell you the time when it did. It was in 1999. Uh, I wrote a play called "Ain't No Power Like Prayer," and I hired someone to direct it. And the 11th hour, he quit. And so I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? And that's when that realization came and said, okay, you're basically telling him what to do anyway. So why don't you just tell the cast? So
Uh-huh.
I did it myself. And from there, it was just,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that is incredible. Incredible. I love that. That is amazing. How sometimes adversary comes and it's actually an opportunity, and it's
Yes.
life changing, life changing. It could have gone anyway. He might have not quit, and you would still be hiring directors. Who knew? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is
Yes.
amazing. This is amazing. And it's funny because you said you don't hide or you don't let fear take over. And it's funny because most of my life, I lived in fear because I was always a perfectionist. I was always controlling and I had anxiety. So I did everything I could to avoid making a mistake. So it was very, very difficult. So for me to come to the other side, I also had to go through I had to more than a realization. I had to find a way to kind of change that into myself, which I didn't know it was possible. I thought it was like, this is me. This is how I am. I know there's other people out there that are happy and relaxed and laid back. I'm not, and this is what it is. Until I finally discovered that it did not have to be that way. And I feel that
Mhm.
you allowed yourself, because of that, to welcome opportunities, to welcome who you truly are. And look at that. That's so
Mhm.
inspirational. I absolutely love that. Um, so in that point of your life, what would you recommend people to do in order for them to open that Pandora box on themselves and really connect to their authentic self and honor the gifts that they have?
That takes a lot of self discipline. Uh, you have to, first of all, learn and know the difference between fall and fail. I ask you, what's the difference between fall and fail?
I love that question, JB.
Let me
I
help you spell
feel,
it out.
yeah, I feel that fail is just feedback. Is feedback where, okay, it didn't work. Why? What can I do differently? Let's try again. Falling is painful, but that doesn't mean your life is over. That just means you have to get up. And every time that you get up, you get stronger. But I'm not sure if that's the answer you're looking for. So tell me, share with me,
Oh,
share with
you,
us.
you, you're dancing around it. See, fall is FALL, fail is FAIL. So as long as you don't let that L turn into an I, you can get up. As long as you get up, you did not fail. If
That
you
is
can
true.
look up, you can get up, fall on your back. And when you get up, then you try again. You
Mhm.
assess what went wrong, as you just indicated. You develop a way to do it differently, and then you move forward.
I
And,
love that.
and then you also have to be able to get out of your own way. There's so many people that, as you just said, you're afraid. Again, as I said earlier, we resist change and we fear the unknown, and
Yeah.
we lose so much energy worrying about what other people think and what other people do and what other people's how they're going to react. And you just have to chant the serenity prayer: God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change.
Yeah.
Give me the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
That's it. That's a gem right there that you just said. And the realization of that is so key. And I see it even myself, like just being stuck with listening sometimes to words like that, JB, and not knowing how to do it until finally I didn't give up and I finally found a way of doing it. And the difference between a person who is successful with something and who isn't, for me, is exactly that. Is the person just learning from falling and the one walking away and not trying again? I think that's the main difference between somebody being successful and somebody who's not. And we have so many examples of that. So many people to give
Mm-hmm.
examples and how much that has been proven. I do want to hear a little bit about the stories that you wrote and the movie that's coming out and what's next for you. But before we do that, I just want to give a quick attention to the sponsors of this show today. This show is brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice that has changed my health and wellness. And they've been doing this for 47 years. Purium, which is a lifestyle transformation of superfoods. And JB, if you ever come to Florida, I would like you to get to know my brother's wine bar. It's the best one in Fort Lauderdale right now. He's a sommelier. I even have a show with him where he changed his life from banking to being a sommelier and living his life of a dream. And I'm happy to be here again with you. And JB, let's talk now about your movies. Tell me, what is it that inspire you to write the different stories that you wrote? Because my understanding is that you did not fix on one genre only. So tell me how that happened for you.
I can only accredit that to life. To life. Somewhat, one of my very close friends, he, kind of like a brother, but we're not biologically connected, asked me the other day when he saw the poster for my current project. He asked me if I had seen this other movie that my poster put him in mind of. And I said no. I was asking why. He says, well, it's just there's a similarity. Um, and I said, now, this may make some of the listeners laugh, some might cringe. I said, when I'm writing, I don't watch other movies because I don't want to be influenced by what I see, but I want all of my juices to flow out. So I decompress by watching Gilligan's Island. And sometimes I'll watch The Jeffersons and Good Times. But every single night when I'm done editing and doing whatever I'm doing, boom, I turn on Gilligan's Island and it puts me to sleep. It kind of decompresses me, bring me back.
Wow. That's amazing how it works for you. That's awesome. That you found a way of doing that. So you said the stories come about life and they have inspired you to write so many different kinds of stories and movies and so forth. So I know that you have so far a few more stories that you have not published yet or produced yet. Sorry. And there's
Mm-hmm.
one now that is about to come out soon. And I wanted to hear a little bit about that. The most recent production that you have, I think it's number 10, if I'm not mistaken, which is a double digit, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about that. What inspired you and
So,
why? Why was it different than what you expected?
so the title is Murderer Among Us. And it started out just to be a thriller, and it ended up being a horror movie. I had never done a horror movie before, but I do love Jason, Friday the 13th, and Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on
Yeah,
Elm
yeah, yeah.
Street, Michael Myers. Uh, and so, in the midst of development, I ended up creating my own killer. He's called the Rasta Man because he wears a dashiki. He has Rasta braids. He wears this mask and this hooded, and this Rasta Man murders people. So,
Wow.
hopefully in years to come, people will be dressing up like Rasta Man the same way they do Jason Voorhees. But yes, the premise, the basic premise is it's a sexaholic counseling group, and members of the counseling group start to disappear. They're being murdered by the Rasta Man, and he murders his umpteenth victim, but doesn't know that the victim's daughter is in the house, her 11-year-old daughter. And so uh, he discovers it before he leaves, and now he's taken her hostage. And so she's like a brainiac, a little junior CSI. And so when her dad is trying to talk to the hostage taker, and talk to her, she has to be smart enough not to let him know that him, as in the killer, that's her dad. So she starts calling him by his first name, because dad doesn't know that that's a serial killer that has his daughter. Serial killer doesn't know that it's her dad, but she knows who both of them are.
Wow. That sounds very interesting. Um, and do you have an idea when that will be out for everybody to watch?
Yes, yes, yes. I sent over a flyer, a notification promo. Um, it premieres on Halloween night.
Oh
Appropriate,
my
right?
goodness. Right.
And then from there, I will get it out to the aggregators to present to the different streaming platforms. Um, One of my previous movies, uh, is already on God, over 80 different streaming platforms. To Love the Soul of
80.
a Woman,
I'm sorry, what's the name of the movie?
and To Love the Soul of a Woman.
Oh,
Has a guest star appearance by the late great Angie Stone. And my movie that I produced last year, formerly titled Thy Will Be Done, but I changed the title to The Will. I actually spoke with Angie about a week before her passing about being in the movie, and I ended up not making the
wow.
connection before, as we worked together on that previous movie back in 2015. Then we worked together on a project back in 2010, and so this was going to be our third collaboration.
Wow. Wow. So,
Mm-hmm.
where if we want to watch these movies, what is the easiest way that we can come and connect to all of these amazing creative stories that you wrote? Where can I go? Like, just a person that I know, for instance, the main streams, or sometimes I just go to Google and I search either somebody in the cast or the name of the producer, the director,
Mhm.
or the name of the movie. Is that
So
what's
in this particular production, um, you have several options. You could Google J.B. Brown.
mm,
Uh, you could Google Reggie Freeman, who is all over the place. This is our seventh collaboration, and he's in production that's going down in London. You can Google Jermaine Johnson, who is currently running for governor of South Carolina. So, God, those three alone is going to bring up so many
sounds
different options, and you can just start watching.
sound sounds amazing. Going back a little bit on something that you started to talk to me about, and I wanted to understand or unfold a little bit more what that meant to you, is you mentioned something about suppressing yourself. Tell me
Hmm.
about what you meant by that and how did you feel and unfold it?
So, what I meant by that is when I first started writing during my discovery period, there was a small group of people who they were average readers and they liked reading whatever they get their hands on, but they liked reading my stuff even more because I was right there. They could like reach out and touch me and say, "Hey." So one of them boldly shared with me that they thought I was a really great writer, but my stuff was unrealistic because I was I was pleased and thank you and sweetie and all this stuff. And she said, JB, people don't talk like that. She was like, your story is great. The story is really, really good, but, folks don't talk that way. And I was suppressing myself because I felt like I didn't want to step out certain boundaries. But
Uh-huh.
then acknowledging that God created us of our own free will, He gives us these tools, and you have to choose what you're going to do to use them. Well, I remember more than one person saying to me, JB, you need to be more active in the church. You need to run this group, or you need to be ahead of that group, and be this and be that. And I asked them one simple question that just shut the whole conversation down. And that question was and is, who do you think needs help more? People that's here every Sunday in the church, or the folks out there in the streets?
Wow.
And there's just this silence, like, well, I didn't really think about it like that. Of course you didn't. That's the reason why you're asking me. You're telling me that I should be more active in the church. What I do, people may not realize it, but it's a form of ministry. It's a
That's
form of
amazing.
ministry. I'm reaching people. I'm ministering to people, and I may not. And this is going to answer your question. This is going to encompass your question. I may not reach everyone with one production, but if I suppress myself in the things that I incorporate into the production, that limits the number of people that I'm going to reach because all I'm doing is just writing about this. I'm producing about this. I'm not producing about this, this, and this, and this, and this. Even though I have the ability to do so, I need to reach all these different people. So I have to allow myself to open up and write about different things so that I reach a different category and class of people.
So I understand that you're thinking about your audience. You're thinking about how this is going to impact different people in different parts of the world and so forth. Now, during all of that, how did it change you? Because you said you didn't want to step into boundaries, but those boundaries were probably something that you were taught since you were little and that you thought were the right way of dealing with things. So how did that and you wanting to connect with more people with the way that you were presenting come together for you to change some of those boundaries, probably patterns or beliefs that you had, into what you are and believe today?
So herein lies the question: how did that change me? It didn't change me. It burgeoned me.
Ah,
It opened up. You're not making a change if you're hiding who you are. You're just opening up who you are.
I
So
love it.
so there was no change. There was just a growth spurt.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I want to use this, JB, to inspire people to continue to unfolding who they truly are with their authentic self. And I think that's so, so powerful because we're very, very conditioned by many different reasons and factors. And a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to be open to dig in that way. So thank you for sharing that. Um, what is next for you?
That is a very loaded question, Jessica,
Well,
because
you're gonna have to pick the sweetest one.
la- last year when I completed the wheel, I said, okay, boom, I'm done. But I tell people there's only one power that moves me. And I was moved to produce Murderer Among Us. So
Wow.
I never in a day thought that I was going to be producing two movies within a 1 year period.
Wow.
So to say what's next for me, it would be a facade because I don't know. I can't tell you from. So I have written. Uh, I produced what three songs within the last year. Um, I'm still writing spoken word poetry. I've written 4 books, not within the last year, but I'm saying over
Yeah.
time I've written 4 books. In fact, To Love the Soul of a Woman came from my book, To Love the Soul of a Black Woman. And I just dropped Black when I did the movie. It was actually 3 of my students, high school students, that says, why it's got to be about Black women? Why you can't just say, you know, and that also transcends into the way that I feel about filmmaking.
Mm,
When someone speaks to me, I don't want the connotation to be that I am a black film maker. I'm a filmmaker who's black. So because what happens is what comes with being a black filmmaker is the stereotypical stories from certain cultures, certain environments, certain the hood and this kind of thing. And I don't want to portray myself as that. I'm a filmmaker
hmm
and I'm black.
Yes. I love that you said that clear. That's awesome. And and it touches me too because I sometimes, depending on where you are in the world and which culture you're in, you can see how much difference there is. And that is something that, especially coming from Brazil, we are extremely diverse there, very, very diverse. And the separation doesn't occur like that. So I don't think that's even a point. I think everything, all of us need to be embraced, and it's not about color, but I understand how it can affect people here and sometimes how they respond to it. So thank you for clarifying that. We're going to have some people here very curious about your work because you're just allowing that to flow through you. You're not even um, you're just letting it come. It's almost like you have your chest open to the universe and you're just letting it come and you're doing it as you receive it. It's just so beautiful how you expressed what's next for you. And I love that. Thank you for being so candid and raw about that. I would like people to finish watching this episode, not only inspired, but super wanting to share this with everybody that they know, and also follow you and get to know your work if they haven't gotten to know your work yet. You're extremely creative. The last thing in your dictionary is the word boring. You allow all of the creative power that God gave you to come through your work, which is absolutely amazing. I don't think that most people can do that. They don't allow themselves to do that, and that's why you're here. And I'm so happy you came to the show. What would you like to leave our listeners with? If you have to leave them with a message, right? Because you're portraying that through your production. You're doing that. You've been doing it for 26 years. But now in your own words, you here, you and me, what would you like to leave our listeners with?
Get out of your own way. Know who you are. Learn who you are. Embrace who you are. Do not allow anyone else. Learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. If you if you say that you feel so strongly that this is what you're supposed to be doing, then that faith is not going to come through other people. It's going to come through your belief in where did it come from. Well, Romans 28 says God created the universe and all that's within it. Well, if you believe that, then no man can stand in your way. You can't define yourself through other people.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for those wise words and for the wise reference. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So please make sure that you're following this up. Follow JB. He gave you all the hints of how to find all of his extraordinary work in art. And make sure that you click the like button so more people can see this and realize the power that they were given by their creator, and they can also shine and get to know who they truly are. My name is Jessica Javens, and this show is brought by the IamBeastNetwork.com and Andre the Beast Creighton. Thank you. I'll see you on next episode.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to string me, string me.